Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Xolani. I use they, them pronouns. Recently, I wrote this tweet talking about petitions and making space for your ancestors. And as I wrote it, I realized that not everyone will willingly or easily do this, especially if you're someone who writes a lot of details in your petitions, or you just feel very fixed, like you have a very fixed idea of what that manifestation or how that desire will come into the world. So I wanted to create this video to help you all. On the surface, it might look like there's a need for control, right? For that type of person. But when you dig deeper, often we realize that there's actually a distrust with spirit, a distrust of the unknown or possibility or what could be, right? And this distrust will translate often to a distrust with the ancestors. Now, I don't want anybody to feel bad, negative, or guilty about distrusting their ancestors or their spiritual court. This is actually incredibly common, especially with those of you who are new to ancestral veneration, those of you who have had any type of church hurt, or just somebody who has a healthy skepticism, right? Like, I don't know about all that. So that completely makes sense. So I just want to validate you first and foremost if you are feeling that way and if you are viewing this video because you are one of those persons. Our desire for control doesn't help us in the spiritual realm where mutual trust is the greatest currency. So today's video is all about not only how to build trust with your ancestors, but also how they build trust with you. Stay tuned for these tips. So the first thing that I want to say is that anti-Indigenous and anti-Blackness in theory, thought, behavior is very insidious, meaning it's creepy, it's crawly, it's sneaky, but it's also incentivized in our culture and under colonialism and capitalism. So these things have been repeated over and over and over again. And we have all of us, no matter your race, color, size, gender, age, all of us have been taught that anything that isn't white, isn't cisgendered, isn't Christian, or heteronormative, all of those things are deemed savage, barbaric, or even demonic, right? Because these things are taught to us over and over and over again, we tend to internalize them. And because they're internalized, that can be showing up in the relationship that you have with your ancestors as well. Now, decolonizing your spirituality is a huge task, and that's why I wanted to mention it first. I wouldn't be able to do this video and give it justice without mentioning that. However, it's incredibly big, so maybe I'll make another video on it. I want you to know that that is something that, yes, you can do with your ancestors. You would also do it in therapeutic settings, within trusted relationships, and also in spiritual communities that back you up and that support you as well. If you don't trust yourself, if all of those things have been internalized and you don't trust yourself, it might be really hard to trust your ancestors as well. So consider that as you consider this video. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is asking for help. Are you comfortable actually asking for help? Some people do already have an ancestral altar, but all they're doing is, just saying names or maybe trying to meditate there, giving offerings, but never truly asking for help. So get clear on the help that you need. And if you don't know, say, make it clear what kind of help that I need in my life. And after you ask, make sure that you are open to receiving the help coming in multiple forms. Okay, this could come in, the tea that you drink. It could come in a message of a movie that you're watching. A friend could call you up and say, I was thinking about you and I needed to talk to you and tell you this thing. There are also other forms of help as well. So this is a great question or concept to explore in therapeutic relationships as well. So with your therapist saying, I struggle asking for help and these are why, da, 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 da. In episode 2 of my podcast, The Blue Bottle Tree, I state that asking for help is some of the last bit of magic that is left in the world. I highly recommend that you listen to the podcast to learn more about what I'm talking about here, but this is a great start. Just recognizing, do I ask for help? Do I know how to ask for help? Am I asking for the actual help that I need? That way your ancestors can respond in the ways that you actually need, and you can start to realize how and when they show up for you. All right, getting a little bit deeper, sometimes people are actually angry with their ancestors. A common question that I hear from a lot of people is like, why would my ancestors put me through this? And I think that that's valid. So let's take a step back and say, whatever it is that you are experiencing or feeling right now regarding whatever life circumstances and situations you are going through is completely valid. The thing is, as a spiritualist, what I would tell you, and also what I've told myself, is that when we get stuck on that question, like, why is this happening? Why are y'all putting me through this? we are actually not giving ourselves space to receive the help that we need in the moment. That question leads more towards meaning making. So for example, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was really scared, of course, and I had so much fear and anger and grief and worry. And when I announced it to people, I remember a few people saying, you know, oh my gosh, you're gonna be so much stronger on the other side. Like, don't worry, everything happens for a reason. And while those things might be true, you know, we don't know if they're actually true, but while they might be true, that doesn't actually help me in the moment. It didn't help in the moment to like relieve my grief, relieve my anger, my frustration, my fear that I was facing as my health was deteriorating. So when we ask, like, why is this happening to me? Why would my ancestors let this happen? Again, you get stuck in that meaning-making place, which isn't always helpful, at least in the moment. What is helpful is getting clear on how you feel. Like I said, I felt fear, anger, worry, grief. You take that and you take that to your ancestors, and instead, a better or more skillful way to be in conversation and relationship with them is ask them, what did you do when you felt immense fear? What did you do when you felt this type of grief? What did you do to hold this anger that you were feeling when you were alive? Those are different types of questions. Those types of questions get you to ritual. They get you to prescriptions. They get you to, you know, you got to do this, this, and this, or make sure you go see da, 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 da. And they help you to sort of form things and let your ancestors work with you. Like, okay, I know you're scared. Let me get you a right therapist. I know you're feeling fear. Let me get you to a Reiki healer. I know you're feeling this. Let me make sure the doctor gives you the right prescriptions and the right treatments. Let me bless the hands of the surgeon, right? Those types of things. Do you notice the two differences? Like, why would this happen versus what did you do when you faced this? Why did this happen feels super ethereal, meaning making, philosophical, right? And so it's airy, it's kind of lifted up here. Whereas what did you do that I can also do in my life to help me move through this is very grounded, and it brings about practical information that is actually useful and helpful in the moment. And then once you get through it, if you want to do meaning making later on, you can absolutely do that. Moving through the rituals that they had for us is something that's super helpful, and it will help to build trust because you won't feel like they're just kind of leaving you out or hanging you out to dry, right? They actually have information that is useful to you and that can help you in the moment. Next up, I am encouraging you to follow through. This is how your ancestors begin to trust you. Follow through. Whatever it is that you ask for, typically there's a promise on the other end, right? If you bring me this, I'm able to do that. You can get really creative with the way that you follow through. Sometimes it is servicing your ancestors, like, you know, get you all fresh flowers and do this whole big spread. Sometimes that's what's needed. Sometimes there's an offering to the community that feels really good, like service to the community. I have often done free meditation classes for people in order to fulfill my promise with spirit. But follow through. Always, always, always follow through. That idea of reciprocity and that idea of balance is incredibly important in the heavens and the earth, as above, so below. So as they bless you, make sure you bless them or others back. There's only one small caveat there. Sometimes it's yourself that you have to further bless. One time I remember I was doing a lot of work with my ancestors and they were like, we love that you're doing this. You are forgetting about yourself. And so they made me go get a massage. I needed to take care of myself better. So be clear about how you're going to follow up, and also listen for the ways that they want you to follow up, because sometimes they want something different. Next thing I want to share with you all is consistency. Be consistent. Please don't say that you're going to change the water and give candles and prayer every single day if that doesn't feel feasible and sustainable to you. Create a sustainable routine. Start off with once a week, refreshing the altar, doing your offerings, speaking to them, and letting them know what's going on. Practice asking for help, like I said before, and see how that feels. Doing that weekly and see what begins to shift for you. After that, you can start to find your own rituals and routines around it as long as you consistently show up. This lets your ancestors know where you're going to be, at what time you're going to be there, and what type of offerings you're giving. And it's like, okay, I could trust that one. I could bring this to this one. And if you're consistent, that also typically means that you will be accountable to the blessings that they want to bring into your life. Because sometimes we are not accountable to our blessings and they can take it away just like that, okay? So if they know that you're consistent, they're going to want to bless you with more. Now, again, I like to give the caveats. Sometimes that means you might be responsible for more things, right? More information, more downloads, more tasks that you are meant to do while you're here on earth. But I promise you that it's incredibly rewarding and they will never like push you past your own limit. Finally, give it time. This is a relationship, and just like a relationship you would build with another human, you want to give it time. Your relationship with your ancestors isn't just a commitment for this lifetime, it is a commitment beyond lifetimes. Get to know each other. Get your divinations regularly. If you go to another reader, go at least twice a year with a trusted, reputable professional, and then also form your own communication with your ancestors. Maybe you use a tarot deck only with them. I like to use playing cards, crystals, meditation, and continuously speak with them, talk to them, and listen for the ways that they speak back to you. Some of us aren't, clairaudient, right? You might be claircognizant, where they just drop something on your mind. You might be clairvoyant, where you may begin to see something. And there's all types of clairs. Build the relationship, build that ancestral language, knowing what it is that they're saying, understanding which way that they are pushing you towards, and know that this takes time. Speak to them, cry with them, celebrate with them, and as much grace as they have given you, give them the same amount of grace back. Be patient, be patient, be patient. And as the relationship builds and deepens, the trust will as well. My hope is that these tips feel super practical and like things that you can incorporate into your ancestral veneration practice right now and forevermore. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with others. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.